For Dan Weber, I'm Johnie Freatman, providing you instant analysis from USC's 2012 spring football game. And Dan, with the end of spring practice, Lane Kiffin talked afterwards about some of the positives and negatives from this spring session. What did he say?
Well, I think he said the biggest negative was the injury to Trojan. He just said that's really, something, that's just going to stay with him. The second thing was the inability of George Farmer to stay healthy and to really get him incorporated into things. I think were the two biggest negatives he felt. I think, he feels like they handled things pretty well in terms of. He said, the more things we had to adjust to, even in this game, with guys coming and going in personnel, he said that was good for the coaches. He said the coaches really said you got to turn things like that into a positive, and I think they handled this pretty well today.
About the game itself, it really seemed like we saw some strong play from the defensive backs. What stuck out to you from their play?
Well, I think the depth, the fact that you've got guys like Brian Boucham and playing so well. Isaiah Wiley was laughing about. I said, looked like basically you were getting every pass thrown your way and every tackle. And he said, I figured that's how it's going to be because he said you look at the other cornerback and it's Nickel and they're coming my way. So he said, I'm going to get a lot of chances, and I think that's really smart. I mean, that's the kind of thinking you want guys more mature to do. But the fact that a couple of the second team guys with McAllister and Boucham come up with interceptions, that's pretty nice.
Another guy who performed very well today, as he has all of spring, is Devon Flournoy. What did you think about his performance, and do you think he might be the front runner for that number 3 receiver spot going into fall camp?
Yeah, I think there's no doubt about that. And I think Lane said he was probably the biggest, bright spot, step-up performer. I mean, obviously you expect Marquise Lee to do what he's doing. I thought today, they gave Soma Vanuku a lot of chances, and I think he showed even as a running back, pass receiver, a couple of big plays, the touchdown play. So I think they're looking to see, what have they got at fullback, and they gave him a chance, and I thought he executed really well. Also thought Xavier Grimble, probably not 100%. They don't have a lot of tight ends. He looks awfully good, I think. That's a real plus.
Dan, you've been here for a lot of spring practices in the past. How would you compare the state of this team at the conclusion of this spring session to teams in the past?
Well, I think they didn't have to do as much today as some of the teams in the past, and they were capable in some areas. For example, John Martinez just was saying, talking about the offensive line, I said, what do you think? And he said, we are so much farther along than we were the last 2 springs. He said, it's kind of amazing when I look back and see where the offensive line was each of the last 2 springs. So there are places where maybe we get, we think a lot about the injuries or who couldn't be here, but and positions like the secondary, the offensive line, they're in pretty good shape, and they had good springs and felt real good about themselves. And I think the linebackers, feels like the linebackers are playing really well. So they are. I mean, if you look at this group of linebackers, compare them to last year where they were, they're on a different planet. I mean, they're that much different. So they're in a different place. There's no question about it.
Well, Dan, thank you very much. That is it for spring, but we will be back with more instant analysis once fall camp rolls around. For Dan Weber, I'm Johnie Freatman, signing off from the LA Memorial Coliseum.